The moment you start thinking like a leader, not a worker, everything in your life begins to shift. Most people wake up every morning just to survive the day. They follow instructions, wait for approval, and hope something changes. But nothing changes when you think like a worker. Workers wait, leaders move. Workers ask what needs to be done. Leaders ask what needs to be changed. This audiobook isn't about leadership roles or job titles. It's about a mindset, one that puts you in control of your actions, your direction, and your growth. If you're stuck in routines, tired of repeating the same patterns, or feel like life is happening without your permission, this message is for you. You'll learn what leaders do differently, how they think, how they decide, how they show up, and more importantly, how you can apply those same principles today, no matter where you are. Don't just work through life, lead it, starting now. Chapter 1. Think for impact, not for instructions. You know, life has a way of opening doors for the people who think beyond the job in front of them. There is a difference between someone who waits to be told what to do and someone who wakes up each morning asking, "How can I make things better today?" Thinking like a leader is not about having a title. It is not about standing at the top or giving orders. It is about how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, and what you decide your life will become. When you think for impact, you stop moving through the day like you are simply clocking in and clocking out. You start acting like your daily actions matter, because they do. Every small choice builds a life, a reputation, a future. Most people live on automatic. They follow instructions. They wait for permission. They play small not because they lack ability, but because they never trained their mind to see beyond the moment. A leader thinks differently. A leader thinks about consequences, about vision, about growth, about influence. A leader asks, "What value can I bring?" This is not ego. This is responsibility. When you begin to think for impact, you stop asking, "What do they want me to do?" and start asking, "What difference can I make here?" Some people think leadership starts when someone gives them a position. The truth is, the position only rewards what you have already developed inside. If you spend your days waiting for someone to tell you what to do, you remain dependent. Your growth stays limited. Your future stays controlled by someone else. But when you decide to think like a leader, your world opens. You become someone who moves with purpose. You speak with intention. You do not wait for someone to save you or guide you. You take responsibility for your life. Start by noticing your habits. When you face a problem, do you freeze and wait for direction, or do you think, "How do I solve this?" When you see something that needs improvement, do you walk past it, or do you step up? Leadership lives in these moments. Every time you act with ownership, you strengthen your mind and your future. Every time you avoid responsibility, you weaken your potential. A leader does not run from responsibility. A leader runs toward it. Thinking for impact means seeing yourself as part of something bigger. It means realizing your work is a reflection of who you are. Some people only work hard when someone is watching. They only bring effort when someone is checking on them. That is not leadership. True leadership shows up in private. It shows up in the way you carry yourself when no one sees. It shows up in the pride you take in your actions. If you expect more from yourself than anyone else expects from you, you begin to move like a leader. And let me speak to your emotions for a moment. Life can be tiring. Life can feel heavy. Some days wake up and you do not feel strong. Some days you feel behind. Some days you feel unnoticed. That is normal. But thinking like a leader means you do not let those feelings control your direction. You acknowledge them. You breathe. You stand up again. You say, "I will not shrink. I will not abandon my growth." Leaders feel fear, doubt, stress, pressure. They are human, but they respond with courage and responsibility instead of running away. That is what separates them. Think about your family, your friends, the future you want, the person you hope to become. Imagine carrying yourself with calm strength. Imagine people trusting your words because you speak with clarity and you follow through. Imagine walking into a room knowing you do not need permission to be valuable. When you choose to think for impact, you build that version of yourself little by little. Every day you lay a brick. Every day you make progress, even if it is slow, even if nobody praises you. Leaders do not work for applause, they work for purpose. So how do you start practicing this mindset today? First, pay attention to your thoughts. Notice when your mind goes into passive mode. Notice when you wait too long. Ask yourself simple questions. What needs to happen here? What is the best decision for the long run? What will help others grow? What will move this forward? These questions shift you from task mode to leadership mode. They sharpen your thinking. Second, speak like a leader. Leaders speak with calm confidence. They ask thoughtful questions. They offer solutions instead of complaining. Complaining is easy. Anyone can complain. It takes no intelligence, no vision, no courage. A worker mindset says, "This is not my problem." A leader says, "How can we solve this?" Speak in ways that lift people, not drain them. The tone of your voice and the words you choose show whether you think like a leader or not. Third, act with discipline. Leadership is not loud, it is quiet consistency. Wake up with intention, set goals that push you, stay on track even when you feel tired. Discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect. When you follow through on your plans, your confidence rises. You start believing in yourself. Confidence is built, not granted, and every disciplined act strengthens your belief. Fourth, build awareness. Notice how people feel around you. Leadership means awareness of others, not just yourself. When you think for impact, you notice who needs encouragement, who needs guidance, who needs clarity. You give attention, you listen, you care. Strong leadership is not force, it is influence. People follow someone who truly sees them. They resist someone who only commands them. Fifth, keep learning. A worker mindset stops growing once the job feels familiar. A leader mindset stays curious. Every day offers something to learn. Read something that improves you. Practice skills that matter. Ask for feedback. Growth is not automatic. It comes from effort. The world rewards those who evolve. If you stay the same, you fall behind. If you learn, you rise. And here is something personal. Do not think leadership is about being perfect. It is not. Leaders make mistakes. Leaders get frustrated. Leaders have days they wish went differently. But leaders do not hide from hard truths. They adjust. They improve. They take ownership. When something goes wrong, instead of pointing fingers, say, "What could I have done better?" That mindset will change your life. Some people say, "When my situation improves, then I will think differently." It does not work that way. Your situation improves when you think differently first. Opportunity follows responsibility. Advancement follows effort. Growth follows intention. If you want more from life, give more to life. Not in a way that drains you, but in a way that builds you. Every strong leader once stood where you stand now, unsure, learning, stretching. But they made a choice to think bigger, a choice to show up fully, a choice to develop character before status. You can start right now. Look at your day. Look at your goals. Look at your habits. Decide that from today you will not live like someone waiting to be guided. Decide you will live like someone who guides themselves. You do not need a title to move like a leader. You need commitment. You need intention. You need courage, and you already have these inside you. They are waiting for your decision. Your future depends on the thoughts you choose today. Every morning, ask yourself, will I follow the crowd or will I rise? Your life deserves direction. Your dreams deserve strength. Your voice deserves confidence. Thinking like a leader means believing your life has meaning and acting in ways that honor that belief. Think for impact, not for instructions. Think for growth, not for ease. Think for responsibility, not approval. If you do this, you will not only build a stronger life for yourself, you will become someone others trust, admire, and learn from. You will feel pride when you look in the mirror because you will know you built yourself through effort and intention. You will stand tall not because someone handed you authority, but because you earned your strength. Start today. Think for impact. Move with purpose. Grow with discipline. Lead your life. Everything else will follow. Chapter 2. Make decisions that move things forward. Every day, life presents choices. Some small, some big, but all carrying power. Most people move through their day reacting, not deciding. They wait for situations to tell them what to do. They wait for signs, for someone to show the way, for the perfect time. But life does not reward hesitation. Growth begins the moment you start making decisions that move things forward. That is the true work of leadership. To decide, to act, to move, to make progress where others pause. Every forward decision begins with clarity. You cannot move what you cannot see. Most people struggle with decisions because they do not know what they want. They hope life will give them answers while they remain unclear. A leader takes time to think about direction. They ask themselves, where am I going? What matters most? What kind of person do I want to become? Once that is clear, decisions become easier. You stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, does this move me toward my purpose or away from it? That one question can change everything. Decision-making is not about being right all the time. It is about progress. Many people freeze because they fear the wrong choice. They think one mistake will ruin everything. But indecision kills more dreams than wrong decisions ever will. When you choose to move, you gain experience. When you stay still, you gain regret. Progress comes from learning, not from waiting. A forward decision may not always lead to success, but it always leads to growth. When you start thinking like a leader, you stop chasing comfort and start chasing direction. You begin to see that every decision shapes the path ahead. You are not waiting for the perfect plan. You are creating it step by step. Leaders do not sit around asking for guarantees. They trust their judgment, their preparation, and their capacity to adapt. They make choices with confidence, not because they are sure of the outcome, but because they are sure of themselves. To make decisions that move things forward, you must train your mind to act based on priorities, not emotions. Feelings are temporary. Emotions fluctuate. But your priorities, your values, your goals, they guide you when things feel uncertain. A worker reacts to pressure. A leader responds with purpose. When something goes wrong, the leader doesn't freeze. They ask, what's next? What can we do now? That question pulls energy back into movement. It turns chaos into direction. Think of moments when you hesitated. Maybe it was a job opportunity, a relationship, a project, or even a simple personal change. You thought about it, analyzed it, waited for the right time, and the time passed. Later, you realized that thinking too long cost you the chance to grow. Now think about a time when you took action, even though you were unsure. You moved forward, made a choice, and something in you expanded. That's the power of decisive action. Every forward decision strengthens confidence. Every forward step builds trust in yourself. Leadership is not about perfection. It's about momentum. You will never have perfect information. You will never feel completely ready. But you can always move. You can always decide the next step. Small decisions shape large outcomes. Choosing to wake up earlier, choosing to learn a new skill, choosing to speak when you're quiet, choosing to face something uncomfortable, all these choices move you closer to strength. Progress doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from consistent small movements forward. A person who thinks like a worker waits for direction. They wait for someone to approve their move. They want certainty before commitment. A leader knows that waiting too long is also a decision to let life control you. Forward movement means you take charge. You learn to see opportunity before others notice it. You create action when others wait for permission. You become the one who sets things in motion. That's when people start trusting you. That's when they start following your energy. Making forward decisions requires courage. Not the kind that shouts loudly, but the quiet courage that says, "I'll try again." Courage that says, "I don't know how this will go, but I will move anyway." You do not grow courage by talking about it. You grow it by doing. Every time you take responsibility, every time you choose movement over fear, courage grows stronger. You begin to see that uncertainty is not an enemy. It's a signal that you're alive and learning. You will face moments when people around you prefer comfort. They may tell you to wait, to slow down, to not take risks. But leaders understand that comfort creates stagnation. Forward decisions are uncomfortable because they involve change. Growth demands that you step into the unknown. You will feel fear, doubt, and confusion. But if you wait for those feelings to disappear, you'll wait your entire life. Leaders act despite them. They remind themselves, it's better to walk with uncertainty than to stay still in regret. Decision-making is also about learning to simplify. Many people overthink because they mix too many opinions into one choice. They ask everyone what to do. They collect advice but lose their own voice in the process. Leaders listen to input, but they decide for themselves. They understand that no one else carries their vision. When you make your own decisions, you build your own confidence. You start trusting your instinct, and that instinct becomes your guide in complex moments. Forward movement also means accepting responsibility for outcomes. When things go wrong, the leader doesn't blame. They analyze, they learn, they improve. That mindset creates growth. Workers look for fault. Leaders look for lessons. You cannot grow while pointing fingers. You grow by asking, what could I have done differently? That question turns every result, good or bad, into a tool for progress. Progressive decisions are not just for work or business. They apply to your personal life, your health, your relationships, your character. Choosing to be kind when you're angry moves things forward. Choosing to listen instead of argue moves things forward. Choosing to take care of your body, your mind, and your time moves things forward. You become the kind of person who creates change through consistency, not talk. That is leadership moving your life, even when no one notices. When you make a habit of forward thinking, your energy changes. You begin to attract challenges, not avoid them. You see problems as puzzles to solve. You become adaptable. Life stops feeling like something that happens to you and starts feeling like something you are shaping. That feeling builds power. That power is not control over others, it's control over yourself. You become grounded, focused, and directed. Every strong leader has learned to make peace with mistakes. They know that growth lives inside trial and error. The more decisions you make, the more data life gives you. Each experience sharpens your perspective. You start seeing patterns. You begin noticing what works. You gain insight that hesitation never gives. Decision-making is not just an act of logic, it's a training ground for wisdom. You cannot learn to lead without deciding often. Many people ask, what if I make the wrong decision? The better question is, what if I make no decision at all? The wrong choice can be corrected. No choice leads nowhere. Leaders understand the difference. They act, learn, adjust, and act again. That rhythm is how progress is built. Movement creates clarity. Stillness creates confusion. The more you move, the clearer life becomes. To make decisions that move things forward, you need patience with yourself. Growth doesn't happen in one jump. It happens through repetition. You make choices, you learn, you grow. Some days you will move fast, some days slow. But as long as you keep choosing direction over doubt, you are progressing. Leadership is a long game. It's about building a mindset that never stops improving. Forward decision-making also teaches you emotional balance. You stop reacting to pressure and start thinking with clarity. When others panic, you analyze. When others freeze, you move. You develop calmness in action. That calmness comes from experience, from seeing that most challenges are not permanent. They are temporary tests that reveal your maturity. When you think forward, you stay focused on what you can do, not what you can't control. Thinking like a leader means you do not wait for the perfect condition. You build progress under any condition. You take what you have and do what you can. You make decisions with the resources in front of you, trusting that more will come as you move. Waiting for the ideal setup is a trap. Leaders create momentum first, and then improvement follows. As you grow, your decisions affect more people. Your family, your team, your community all feel your direction. When you choose wisely, you lift others. When you decide with integrity, you set an example. People remember consistency. They remember courage. They remember action. Leadership is contagious. When one person moves with clarity, others feel inspired to do the same. That is how impact spreads. You can start today. You can look at your life and identify one area that needs forward motion. Maybe it's your health, maybe your finances, maybe your relationships, maybe your mindset. Choose one thing and make a clear decision. Not tomorrow, now. A leader moves when clarity meets opportunity. That's how you build momentum. Once you start moving, life starts meeting you halfway. New paths open, new people arrive, new lessons appear. Progress attracts progress. The power of decision is the power of change. Nothing shifts until you decide. You can think, plan, dream, and hope, but life only moves when you do. A leader's life is defined not by what they know, but by what they decide to do with that knowledge. Every step forward builds trust, confidence, and growth. That is how you lead yourself and others, one strong decision at a time. So make decisions that move things forward. Do not overthink. Do not wait. Look at your situation, ask what will create progress, and act. Build your confidence through motion. Build your life through choices that count. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to move with purpose.
Every decision you make becomes a brick in the foundation of your growth. Keep building. Keep deciding. Keep moving forward. That is how leaders think. That is how leaders live. Chapter 3. See problems as chances to show direction. Every person faces problems. No one escapes them, but the difference between people who rise and those who stay stuck lies in how they see those problems. Most people see them as interruptions, as barriers, as things that ruin their peace. But leaders see them differently. They see problems as moments to show direction, moments to guide themselves and others toward clarity. Problems are not signs of failure. They are invitations to lead. Every challenge brings a chance to demonstrate vision, calmness, and strength. When something goes wrong, the ordinary mind reacts with frustration or fear. The leader's mind responds with focus. When everyone else complains, the leader starts thinking. A leader doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They ask, "What can I learn here? What can we do next?" This way of thinking turns obstacles into opportunities for growth. It changes the energy of every situation. People who complain drain strength. People who lead create direction. If you want to think like a leader, you have to train yourself to stay steady when things get rough. Problems reveal the truth about your mindset. When everything is easy, anyone can look confident, but when pressure arrives, your real character speaks. Leaders do not collapse under weight. They adjust, they plan, and they move forward. They show others that panic does not solve anything, but calm direction does. People naturally follow those who stay grounded under stress. You can tell a lot about a person by how they handle problems. Some people point fingers. Some people make excuses. Some people hide and hope the issue disappears. But leaders step forward. They look for facts, not drama. They look for the next step, not someone to blame. That difference in approach builds trust. Others start to see you as dependable, as someone who can find light when everyone else sees darkness. In real life, problems are constant. You can't control when they appear, but you can control how you face them. When you learn to face problems with direction, you become valuable anywhere you go. In your job, in your home, in your relationships, people begin to rely on your strength. That's what real leadership looks like. Stability in uncertainty, not because you have all the answers, but because you believe there's always a way forward. When a problem hits, your first job is to pause, not freeze, but pause. Think clearly before reacting. Most people react emotionally and make the situation worse. A leader breathes, observes, and starts piecing things together. They ask questions that matter. What's really happening here? What's the real cause? What's within my control right now? These questions move the mind from panic to purpose. Once your thinking shifts, the problem begins to shrink in size. There's always a choice in how you respond. You can choose frustration, or you can choose focus. The way you respond sets the tone for everyone around you. If you stay calm, others begin to calm down too. If you complain, negativity spreads. A leader understands the power of energy. They know that their attitude can either build momentum or break it. Direction begins with mindset, not with words. People feel it before they hear it. Leaders also understand that every problem contains hidden lessons. Some problems teach patience. Some teach discipline. Some teach communication. Some teach humility. Life uses problems as a tool to strengthen your character. If you avoid every challenge, you also avoid the chance to grow. Growth and comfort never live in the same place. Leaders welcome challenges because they understand the long-term reward. Wisdom. The more problems you solve, the more capable you become. Seeing problems as chances to show direction also means refusing to complain. Complaining makes you powerless. It sends the message that life controls you. Leaders don't complain. They take action. Even small action. Because action builds clarity. When you move, you begin to see solutions that standing still never shows. Problems only overwhelm those who stay idle. The moment you take a step, the problem starts to look smaller. In every workplace or team, problems test people. Some freeze, others get angry, but a few rise. Those few are the ones who take ownership. They say, "We'll figure this out." They take charge, not for attention, but because they care about progress. That energy spreads. Soon others start following that same focus. You can be that person. the one who steadies the group, the one who keeps moving forward even when things fall apart. Leadership in problems is not about controlling everyone. It's about setting an example. It's about being the person who holds direction when others lose it. When you stay composed, others see that they can trust you. They begin to mirror your behavior. That's how you influence people, not through authority, but through example. Sometimes the best direction you can show is a simple decision to not give up. Many people quit when problems grow. Leaders endure. They keep pushing when it's uncomfortable. They understand that every challenge ends. The question is, will you end stronger or weaker than before? If you stand your ground, you always end stronger. A leader sees beyond the moment. They know that pain is temporary, but quitting becomes habit. Problems are not only about survival, they are about creativity. When life limits you, it also challenges you to think differently. A leader uses pressure as fuel for innovation. They look for new paths, new approaches, new ideas. They refuse to say, "There's nothing we can do." Instead they say, "There must be another way." That kind of thinking keeps progress alive. To show direction during challenges, you must learn to communicate with clarity. People in difficult situations often look for guidance. They want to know what's next. A leader does not hide. They speak with honesty. They tell the truth about what's happening and focus on solutions. Clear communication builds trust. It keeps people aligned and calm. Confusion makes fear grow. Direction makes hope grow. You can train yourself to see problems as opportunities by shifting your self-talk. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening?" say, "What can this teach me?" Instead of saying, "This is unfair," say, "This is my chance to lead." That mental shift changes everything. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a creator of your outcomes. The more you think this way, the faster you recover from setbacks. Leaders also keep perspective. They remind themselves that every big success was once a challenge. Every breakthrough came after difficulty. You grow through what you handle, not what you avoid. So the next time you face a problem, remind yourself, this is where strength builds. This is where leadership begins. This is my chance to prove my direction. When people see how you handle problems, they learn from you. They remember your composure. They notice your patience. They see that you don't panic when things break down. That kind of behavior inspires confidence. You become the person they look to in hard times. You might not even realize it, but your actions are teaching others how to lead. Every challenge also gives you a chance to refine your thinking. It sharpens your focus and humbles your ego. It reminds you that leadership is not about control. It's about contribution. Problems test how much you care. If you care enough, you'll find solutions. If you only care about comfort, you'll walk away. The more you care, the stronger your leadership becomes. One key to leading through problems is flexibility. A rigid mind breaks under pressure. A flexible mind adjusts. You might need to change your plan. You might need to rethink your strategy. But as long as you keep moving toward improvement, you are leading. Leaders do not confuse stubbornness with strength. Strength is the ability to adapt without losing purpose. When life challenges you, you also discover your values. Problems reveal what matters most. They strip away distractions and test your priorities. You learn whether you stand for quick comfort or long-term growth. True direction always aligns with your values. When you lead from your principles, even hard decisions become clear. Every time you face a problem, remember this: your reaction sets your future. If you panic, you lose control. If you focus, you gain influence. If you complain, you lose respect. If you take responsibility, you earn trust. Direction is not something you talk about. It's something you demonstrate through choices. To see problems as chances to show direction, you must practice calm confidence daily. Wake up knowing that challenges will come, but you will be ready. The more prepared your mind is, the less control problems have over you. Preparation builds confidence. Confidence builds clarity. Clarity builds leadership. In moments of uncertainty, remind yourself that growth is happening right there. Every test you face strengthens your judgment, your patience, and your endurance. You will look back one day and realize that the very problems you hated were shaping your strength. They were molding you into the person capable of more. That realization brings peace even in the hardest seasons. A leader knows that not every problem can be fixed immediately. Some need time. Some need patience. Some need faith. But no problem should make you lose your sense of direction. Keep your eyes on progress, no matter how slow. Even a small step forward keeps momentum alive. Direction is not about speed. It's about movement with purpose. You build your reputation in hard times. When others quit, your persistence speaks for you. When others blame, your calmness sets you apart. When others lose hope, your steady energy becomes light. You don't have to be loud to lead. You just have to stay consistent. People will follow quiet strength, more than loud panic. So the next time you face a problem, don't see it as a burden. See it as a test of your mindset. See it as a stage where your discipline, your patience, and your clarity can shine. This is your moment to practice leadership. Not when everything is easy, but when everything feels uncertain. Anyone can follow direction, but a leader creates direction when there isn't any. Remember, problems are not there to stop you. They are there to reveal you, to show you what kind of person you are becoming. Every problem carries a question. Will you react, or will you lead? The answer you choose defines your growth, your confidence, and your influence. Choose to lead. Choose to move with calmness and focus. Choose to show direction where others see confusion. That's how real leaders are built. Not in comfort, but in challenge. They do not run from problems. They face them, learn from them, and lead through them. You can do the same. See problems as chances to show direction. And you will never see obstacles the same way again. You will see opportunities everywhere. And that's when you truly begin to lead your life.
Chapter 4. Take responsibility before waiting for orders. Taking responsibility is the mark of a mature mind. It's the moment you stop saying someone should do something and start saying, I will do something. The difference between a worker and a leader lies right there. A worker waits for orders. A leader takes ownership. Responsibility is not about control. It's about commitment. It's about saying, this situation may not be my fault, but it is my duty to make it better. When you live this way, everything in your life begins to change. You stop being managed by circumstances and start managing your direction. Waiting for orders feels safe. It keeps you protected from blame. It allows you to say, I was just doing what I was told. But safety is not growth. Growth happens when you start making choices, when you begin to carry the weight of outcomes. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a sign of strength. It means you have the courage to act without needing permission. People who take responsibility shape the world. Those who wait for instructions only follow it. When you take responsibility, you stop asking for approval and start creating progress. You stop waiting for someone to fix the problem and start finding ways to fix it yourself. It doesn't mean you do everything alone. It means you take initiative. You become the person others can count on. When things go wrong, you step forward, not backward. You say, let's figure this out.
That energy builds trust. That attitude earns respect. Leadership begins the moment you stop saying, "That's not my job." That phrase limits potential. It keeps you small. Every time you avoid responsibility, you delay your own growth. A true leader looks at a task and says, "If this needs to be done, I'll find a way." This mindset separates those who move up in life from those who stay stuck. The world always rewards people who act with ownership. Taking responsibility also builds self-respect. When you know that your progress depends on your own actions, you start treating your time differently. You stop wasting hours blaming others or waiting for direction. You begin to think ahead. You prepare instead of react. You stay ready instead of being told what to do. That's when confidence grows, not from praise, but from knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. Most people underestimate the freedom that comes from responsibility. It may sound heavy, but it actually liberates you. When you accept that your choices shape your results, you gain control over your life. You stop depending on luck, or timing, or someone else's decision. You understand that your future is your responsibility. This realization makes you stronger and calmer. It replaces frustration with focus. Think about your daily life. How many times do you wait for someone to remind you, push you, or tell you what's next? What if instead you became the one who sees what needs to be done and does it? The moment you start doing that, everything shifts. Your relationships change, your work changes, your confidence changes. Because you're no longer waiting, you're leading. Responsibility is not about being perfect. It's about being accountable. You will make mistakes. You will face setbacks. But when you take responsibility, you don't hide from them. You acknowledge them. You learn, you adjust, and you move forward. That's what separates a responsible person from someone who avoids growth. One owns their story, the other avoids it. You can't lead yourself or others if you keep escaping your own lessons. Taking responsibility also means you don't need recognition to act. Many people only perform when someone is watching. A leader acts because it's right, not because it's visible. They put in effort when no one is clapping. They follow through because they value their word. That kind of discipline is rare, but it's powerful. It makes you dependable. It shows that your character doesn't depend on supervision. Waiting for orders is easy because it removes pressure. But pressure is what molds leaders. The ability to see a gap and fill it, to see a problem and address it, to see potential and act on it. These qualities are built only through responsibility. The moment you stop asking "what should I do" and start asking "what can I do," your mind starts expanding. You begin thinking like someone who creates progress, not someone who follows it. You'll notice that people who take responsibility often rise faster. It's not because they know everything, it's because they move. They act when others hesitate. They make decisions instead of waiting for permission. That initiative makes them valuable in every situation. The world respects people who take charge of their role and bring results, no matter how small or big. To build this habit, start with small acts of ownership. Clean up what you didn't mess up. Fix something without being told. Follow through on a promise without reminders. Deliver more than expected. These simple actions train your brain to act instead of wait. Each time you do it, you strengthen your sense of control. You begin to realize that responsibility isn't something you carry. It's something that carries you forward. Taking responsibility also means owning your reactions. You can't control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. Blame is easy, but it keeps you powerless. Ownership gives you influence. When you respond with accountability, you stay in charge of your emotions and actions. You show maturity instead of frustration. That's what leaders do. They control their response, even when they can't control the situation. Some people avoid responsibility because they fear failure. They think, if I take charge and it goes wrong, it's my fault. But that's the wrong way to look at it. Failure is not a punishment, it's feedback. Every time you take responsibility, you give yourself a chance to learn. If you wait for orders, you avoid mistakes, but you also avoid growth. The people who learn the fastest are the ones willing to step up and try. There's something deeply empowering about deciding, I will own this. It brings purpose to your actions. It makes you think long term. You start seeing the bigger picture. You start understanding how your decisions affect others. You start thinking about improvement, not just completion. That's what leadership looks like. Not waiting for direction, but creating it. In every team or family or organization, progress depends on people who take responsibility. Without them, nothing moves. Everyone ends up waiting on someone else. But when even one person steps forward, everything begins to flow. You can be that person. You can be the one who raises the standard. You can show what accountability looks like through your consistency. When you take responsibility, people trust you more. They know you mean what you say. They know you will handle challenges instead of avoiding them. Trust is the foundation of leadership, and responsibility is the foundation of trust. When you take care of your duties without waiting for instructions, others feel safe around you. They know that you care enough to do what's right even when it's not easy. Leadership is not about being in charge of others. It's about being in charge of yourself. That means taking responsibility for your attitude, your discipline, your effort, and your words. When something goes wrong, instead of pointing outward, you look inward. You ask, what could I have done better? That question keeps you growing. It keeps you humble and sharp. It prevents you from becoming passive or defensive. You will notice that people who always wait for orders rarely feel fulfilled. They may feel busy, but they don't feel proud, because deep down they know they are not leading their life. They're just participating in someone else's plan. Responsibility gives meaning. It makes every task personal. It reminds you that your work matters because you chose to make it matter. Taking responsibility also means not waiting for motivation. Motivation is temporary. Some days you'll feel inspired, other days you won't. But when you live responsibly, you act regardless of mood. You show up because you said you would. That reliability builds inner strength. It trains you to follow through even when you don't feel like it. Leaders move through discipline. Followers wait for emotion. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that no one is coming to save you. People can help, but they can't live your life for you. If you want change, you have to initiate it. If you want better results, you have to make better choices. That's what taking responsibility truly means, accepting full control over your direction. Once you understand that, excuses start to disappear. You stop saying I can't because, and start saying I will find a way. It's easy to blame circumstances. It's easy to say, I'd do more if I had more. But leaders make progress with whatever they take the first step with limited tools, limited support, limited clarity, and build momentum from there. Responsibility doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It starts with action. And every action taken with responsibility brings more opportunity. When you live this way, something shifts inside you. You start feeling proud of your choices. You start feeling capable. You start trusting yourself. Responsibility builds self-belief in a way that nothing else can. It gives you a quiet confidence that says whatever happens, I can handle it. That's the foundation of true leadership, strength through accountability. Taking responsibility before waiting for orders also prepares you for greater opportunities. When life sees that you can handle small things without supervision, it starts giving you bigger things. Every promotion, every opportunity, every new level of success is built on responsibility. People who handle what they have well are always trusted with more. The truth is, responsibility is not a skill, it's a decision. You don't need to be taught it, you need to choose it. Choose to act when others hesitate. Choose to give when others hold back. Choose to lead yourself before you lead others. The more you choose responsibility, the more control you gain over your destiny. Life will always test your willingness to act without being told. Every challenge, every delay, every uncertain moment is asking you, will you step forward or will you wait? Leaders, they do not wait for someone to light the path. They take the first step and light it themselves. Taking responsibility before waiting for orders is not just a habit, it's a philosophy. It's a way of living that says, I own my life, I own my growth, I own my results. It's not about ego, it's about integrity. It's about honoring your potential by taking action instead of waiting for direction. And when you start living this way, you will notice that life begins to open in ways it never did before. You will see opportunities others miss. You will gain respect others chase. You will feel fulfillment others seek. Because nothing is more empowering than knowing that you are the reason your life moves forward. Responsibility is not a rule, it's freedom. And when you learn to carry it, you'll realize it's not weight at all, it's wing. It lifts you to levels where waiting could never take you.
Chapter 5. Build confidence through action, not approval. Confidence is not something you wait for, it is something you build. Most people spend their lives waiting for someone to tell them they are good enough. They look for approval, for compliments, for validation. They want the world to clap before they take the stage. But confidence doesn't come from applause, it comes from action. It grows each time you move, each time you try, each time you face what scares you. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for, it is a result of doing what you said you would do. Approval is temporary. One moment people like you, the next they don't. If your confidence depends on what others think, it will rise and fall with every opinion. You can't build a stable life on unstable feedback. Real confidence comes from progress, not praise. When you act, you prove to yourself that you can handle things. You stop needing someone to tell you that you're capable because your actions already show it. Many people hesitate to move because they feel insecure. They tell themselves they'll act once they feel confident, but that's backward. Action comes first, confidence comes after. You don't gain belief by thinking about it, you gain it by doing. Every small step builds proof. Every time you face discomfort and survive, your mind records it. It learns, I can handle this. That's how strength grows, from evidence, not from imagination. Confidence is built in silence. It's built when you practice alone, when you stay committed even when no one's watching, when you take the next step even after failure. The people who look fearless aren't naturally brave. They're practiced. They've done the work. They've taken so many steps forward that fear has lost its power over them. If you want to feel confident, stop waiting to be ready. Start moving and let experience make you ready. The mistake most people make is seeking comfort before growth. They look for reassurance. They post their ideas and wait for likes. They do their best but still want someone to say, that was good. But leaders know that chasing approval weakens you. It trains your mind to depend on others for direction. Action trains your mind to depend on yourself. The more you act, the less you crave permission. That's the shift that builds unshakable confidence. When you rely on approval, you live cautiously. You hide your ideas because you fear judgment.
You hold back your effort because you don't want to fail publicly. But when you build confidence through action, fear loses its grip. You stop asking, "What will people think?" and start asking, "What will I learn from this?" That question changes everything. It moves you from avoidance to growth, from hesitation to movement. Action doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as speaking up when you're silent, taking a small risk, or trying again after rejection. Each small act builds proof that you're capable. Confidence is not built in one victory, it's built in repeated effort. The more you take action, the more you realize that discomfort isn't danger. It's just the body's signal that you're expanding. Once you understand that, you stop fearing effort, you start chasing it. Real confidence doesn't shout, it doesn't need to, it's quiet and steady. It's knowing that you can rely on yourself. It's walking into situations without the need to impress anyone. You stop needing validation because you already know who you are and what you can handle. That kind of confidence doesn't come from approval, it comes from consistent self-trust, built through action. Taking action even when you feel uncertain is how you prove your worth to yourself. Every time you take responsibility for your choices, you reinforce belief. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Confidence is not built on words, it's built on follow-through. It's when your mind sees that your actions match your intentions. That's when you begin to feel solid, grounded, and unshakable. Approval-based living creates anxiety. You start performing instead of growing. You measure your value through reactions. That's why many people feel empty, even after success. They achieved something, but it wasn't for themselves. Confidence through action, on the other hand, fills you. It gives your work meaning because you did it for the right reason. To grow, to learn, to build strength, not to impress. Every time you act despite fear, you take power away from it. Fear feeds on hesitation. It grows stronger when you think too much and weaker when you move. Action breaks its rhythm. Once you start doing, you realize the fear was exaggerated. It was never as heavy as it looked. That's why motion matters more than motivation. You don't need to feel brave, you need to move. The feeling follows. When you base your confidence on approval, you also give people control over your emotions. A single negative comment can ruin your day. A lack of recognition can destroy your motivation. But when your confidence comes from action, you're stable. You understand that your worth isn't up for debate. It's built, not borrowed. You no longer depend on external validation to feel capable. You find satisfaction in your own progress. People often misunderstand confidence. They think it's arrogance or pride. But real confidence has humility in it. It doesn't need to prove superiority. It's about inner peace, not comparison. A confident person doesn't need to compete with others. They compete with their own potential. They wake up asking, "How can I improve today?" Not "How can I outshine someone else?" That quiet focus builds the kind of strength that lasts. To build confidence through action, you must learn to handle failure gracefully. Every failure is a lesson in disguise. The only true failure is quitting. Each mistake carries feedback. Each setback refines your approach. Every time you get up, you build resilience. Confidence doesn't come from winning all the time. It comes from knowing you can recover when you don't. Once you understand that, fear loses its control over your life. You also build confidence when you keep your promises to others, yes, but especially to yourself. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, you teach your brain that your word matters. You start to trust yourself deeply. That's the core of confidence, self-trust. Without it, you'll always look outside for reassurance. With it, you'll stand firm, no matter who doubts you. Confidence grows in the moments you think no one is watching. When you study while others sleep, when you show up to practice even when you don't feel like it, when you keep working after rejection, Those small actions accumulate quiet. One day, people will call you confident, but they won't see the hours of quiet effort behind it. You'll know, and that knowledge will mean more than any applause ever could. Building confidence through action also requires honesty. You can't build strength by pretend. You have to admit where you're weak, where you're afraid, and where you've fallen short. Then you have to act anyway. Facing reality gives you control. Avoiding it keeps you trapped. Leaders don't lie to themselves about their limits. They work on every bit of progress earned through honesty creates genuine confidence. When you stop chasing approval, your energy changes. You start doing things for purpose, not recognition. You stop needing attention to feel valuable. You focus on results, not reactions. You start feeling free because you no longer depend on people's opinions to feel alive. Approval keeps you chained. Action sets you free. A leader understands that confidence is built on repetition. You do the right thing again and again until it becomes natural. You face small fears daily so that big ones don't scare you. You practice discipline when no one checks on you. You move even when doubt whispers. Over time, your body and mind begin to expect success. Confidence becomes your default, not your dream. The people who grow the fastest are the ones who try the most, not the ones who know the most. Action brings experience, and experience brings wisdom. The more you act, the more you learn how to adjust. You stop overthinking and start improving. That rhythm of movement builds confidence far more effectively than overplanning ever could. Confidence through action also teaches patience. Growth takes time. You won't feel certain overnight. You won't master skills instantly. But every time you take consistent steps, you prove to yourself that you're moving forward. Progress, no matter how small, builds power. You don't need to see giant results. You just need to know you're advancing. That awareness keeps your confidence alive. When you build confidence through action, you learn to stay grounded even in success, because you know that praise doesn't define you, effort does. You stay humble because you understand that every achievement came from discipline, not luck. You stay hungry because action never ends. Confidence is not a finish line. It's a lifelong process of proving to yourself that you can keep going. Approval fades quickly, but self-earned confidence stays. You don't have to chase it, defend it, or explain it. It's inside. It's in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you face life. When people see it, they feel it, not because you boast, but because your presence carries quiet certainty. That's what real confidence looks like. It's calm, strong, and steady. Start where you are. Don't wait to feel brave. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect time. Pick one thing you've been hesitating to do, and take the first step. Even a small action counts. That's how momentum begins. Once you start, keep going. Each step adds a layer to your strength. One day you'll look back and realize that the person who once doubted themselves has become the person others look up to. Building confidence through action is the foundation of leadership. It teaches you to depend on yourself, to stay consistent, to take risks, to grow from discomfort. It shows you that self-belief is earned, not gifted. When you act, you build evidence. When you move, you build trust. When you stay committed, you build power. And once you've built that kind of confidence, no opinion can shake it, and no obstacle can stop it.
Chapter 6. Learn to guide people, not just follow them. Leadership is not about being in charge. It's about being someone others can trust to move forward with. Many people know how to follow, but very few learn how to guide. Following is easier because it requires less responsibility. You simply do what you're told. Guiding, however, requires vision, patience, and courage. It means thinking beyond yourself. It means caring about others enough to help them grow. When you learn to guide people, you stop being just another participant in life. You become someone who shapes it.
A follower waits to see what others will do. A guide sees what must be done and helps people move toward it. Guidance doesn't mean control. It means influence through example, clarity, and care. People follow those who make them feel capable, not those who make them feel small. To guide others, you must first understand them. You must take time to listen, to see their fears, their motivations, and their potential. You can't guide people you don't understand. True guidance starts with self-awareness. Before you lead others, you must know yourself. What do you stand for? What do you believe in? How do you handle pressure? People sense your energy before they hear your words. If your actions don't match your message, they won't follow you willingly. Leadership is less about what you say and more about how you live. The way you handle difficulty teaches more than any speech. Learning to guide people means developing empathy. You have to see situations from their point of view. You have to know what they need, not just what you expect. Some people need encouragement, others need challenge, some need structure, others need freedom. A good guide knows when to push and when to support. They don't treat everyone the same way. They adapt to bring out the best in each person. Guiding people also means setting standards. People look up to someone who expects excellence, not perfection, but commitment. You can't demand more from others than you demand from yourself. When people see that you live with integrity and discipline, they naturally want to rise to your level. That's how influence works. It's not forced, it's earned. You earn it by example, by consistency, by authenticity. You must also learn to communicate clearly. Many misunderstandings come from unclear direction. A good leader doesn't speak to impress, they speak to connect. They use simple words, calm tone, and steady focus. They don't overpromise, they don't mislead. They tell the truth even when it's uncomfortable. People don't need perfect leaders, they need honest ones. They need someone who communicates with both heart and reason. Guiding people requires patience. Growth takes time. You can't expect instant results. You can't demand people to be who they're not yet ready to be. A real guide knows that mistakes are part of learning. They don't judge, they coach. They don't ridicule, they correct with respect. When people feel safe around you, they start to grow faster. They stop hiding mistakes and start improving from them. You also have to lead by action. Words only go so far. People watch how you treat others, how you handle stress, how you recover from setbacks. If you preach positivity but react with anger, your message collapses. If you talk about discipline but cut corners, your credibility fades. People learn more from your habits than from your advice. To guide others, your behavior must be consistent, even when no one is watching. There's a difference between being a boss and being a guide. A boss tells people what to do. A guide shows them why it matters. A boss focuses on control. A guide focuses on growth. A boss uses authority. A guide uses example. When you guide people, you create more leaders, not more followers. You inspire independence, not dependence. You build people who can stand strong on their own, not those who always wait for your direction. Guiding others also means believing in their potential before they believe in it themselves. Many people never rise simply because no one told them they could. A leader sees what others don't see. They recognize hidden strengths and help bring them to the surface. When you tell someone, you can do this, and you mean it, something changes in them. They start to see new possibility. That's the real power of leadership. It awakens people to their own greatness. To guide effectively, you must control your ego. Leadership is not about being above others. It's about being among them and lifting them higher. When you lead with humility, People respect you more. You don't need to be the loudest in the room. You need to be the one who listens, who observes, who acts with wisdom. People follow calm strength more than aggressive power. They follow the one who brings peace, not chaos. Learning to guide also means knowing when to step back. A good guide doesn't make people dependent. They make them confident. You have to let others try, fail, and learn. Don't rush to fix everything. Let people solve problems their way sometimes. That's how they develop skill and ownership. A leader's goal is not to create followers, it's to create more capable thinkers. When people can think for themselves, your leadership has succeeded. Being a guide means you carry responsibility beyond yourself. You can't think only about your comfort. Every word, every action, every choice you make affects others. You must weigh your decisions with care. A single careless remark can break trust. A single fair decision can build loyalty. Leadership demands awareness. You have to be conscious of the energy you bring into every space. Guiding others is also about consistency. People can't trust someone who changes direction every week. They need stability. They need to know where you stand. You don't have to have all the answers, but you must have principles that don't waver with convenience. When people see consistency, they feel safe to follow. When they see unpredictability, they hesitate. Stability builds direction. Another key part of guidance is giving credit. When people do well, recognize it. When they contribute, appreciate it. When they grow, celebrate it. Leaders who share credit build stronger teams. Those who take all the glory weaken trust. Recognition costs nothing but gives everything. It makes people feel valued, and people who feel valued give their best. But guiding others is not just about support, it's also about standard. You can't shy away from correction. When someone drifts off course, you must address it. But do it with respect, not shame. Show them the better way instead of just pointing out mistakes. True leaders correct in a way that builds, not breaks. They challenge people to improve without destroying their confidence. To guide people effectively, you also have to keep learning yourself. Leadership is not a finish line. It's a lifelong process of improvement. The best guides are constant learners. They read, observe, ask questions, and grow. They never stop refining their understanding of people. When you grow, your ability to lead grows too. You can't teach what you don't practice. Leaders also know how to manage conflict. When people work together, disagreements are natural. A good guide doesn't take sides. They seek understanding. They focus on solutions, not blame. They help people communicate better. They remind everyone of the bigger goal. Calmness during conflict is one of the strongest signs of leadership. It keeps the team from falling apart under pressure. Learning to guide people means leading with integrity. Integrity is doing what's right even when it's inconvenient. People will forgive mistakes, but they won't forgive dishonesty. Once you lose trust, it's hard to earn it back. Always choose honesty. Always act in alignment with your value. A leader who stays true, even when it costs them something, gains lasting respect. Guiding also means serving. Leadership is not about privilege, it's about responsibility. It's not about being above people, it's about being accountable to them. The best leaders see themselves as servants of the mission. They ask, how can I help this person succeed, not what can I get from them? That attitude changes everything. People will always follow someone who genuinely wants them to win. You must also learn to inspire through your vision. People follow direction, but they stay for purpose. If you can help others see the meaning behind what they do, they'll work with more heart. Paint a clear picture of what's possible. Show them how their role fits into the larger goal. When people understand the why, they give more to the how. Inspiration creates unity. Guiding people is also about emotional control. You can't lead effectively if you let your emotions lead you. There will be times of frustration, disappointment, even betrayal. You can't respond with anger or impulsive reactions. You must stay grounded. Emotional balance shows maturity. It tells people that they can trust your judgment, even under stress. A great leader lifts others when they fall. They don't punish weakness, they help rebuild strength. They remind people of their worth when they forget it. They give second chances when deserved. Leadership is about seeing potential